travelers, Mag and I here on day 186 of our trip around the United States. This morning, we're getting things started off from the shore of Lake Halbert here in Corsicana. We got off to a very slow start this morning, and I don't expect we're going to be moving too fast. So chances are we're not actually going to make it to our planned endpoint for the day. For today's route, pushing away out of Corsicana, we're going to be covering 280 miles. From here, we're going to be moving west. The next county that we're going into, Ellis, is where we're going to be spending the rest of our morning. There are a ton of virtuals spread out through the county, and I want to do my best to try and get through as many of them as I can. With time as limited as it is, we may end up cutting some of them, but hopefully we'll be able to get through the bulk of them. We'll make that decision as we're going through and see how quickly they're moving. From there, we'll kind of make our way south and west until we get into Hamilton. From Hamilton, we're going to start to hook back around, and if we can manage to make our day on time, we'll finish things up at Waco. Now again, whether we get there or not a big deal. The time's going to work for itself. What matters for today is that Aichan and I get to go through the day, find some virtuals, maybe get a few good hikes in, put our names on some logbooks, and enjoy another great day out here in Texas. I think that part is going to be an easy goal to accomplish. Let's get started on those miles, and let's see where the road takes us. Come on, let's go.
Well, wouldn't you know it? It looks like Aichan and I aren't the only ones that are looking at getting a move on first thing in the morning. This entire flock decide to move from the park out into the lake. Good luck, little guys. Hope you enjoy your float. Even though our morning actually began in Corsicana, it was a little bit too early to do some of the things we wanted to do. So instead, we enjoyed a nice walk through the park, a view out over the lake, and then started into our miles in Ellis County. The virtuals here were fairly well spread out, so we had to make a decision as to which ones we actually wanted to pursue. Since we've been going after the footbridge series in the Dallas area, we decided to go after another one of those near Bardwell Lake. Most of the bridges we have pursued in this series so far have been in urban environments, so it was interesting to take a walk through the Buffalo Creek wetland and get a little off trail to go find this one. I almost wasn't even sure there was a footbridge out here until we happened to stumble across it. It doesn't look like it's going to be holding on much longer though. Coming around the west side of the lake, we pursued our final virtual of this series in the city of Waxahachie. As the county seat of Ellis County, with a population of around 40,000 people, it's hard not to fall in love instantly with this city. One of the very first things you'll notice coming into this city is that there are hearts spread all around town. In fact, there are 21 of these uniquely painted hearts by local artists sponsored by local businesses. These represent that Waxahachie is the heart of a music-friendly community. This city happens to go by many different names, including the Gingerbread City, the Crepe Myrtle capital of Texas, and the best little Hollywood in Texas thanks to the filming of Bonnie and Clyde in 1967. There is a lot of history waiting to be discovered, not only in this city, but in this county, and there's no better place to do so than at the Ellis County Museum just down the street from the courthouse. Housed within the single oldest building in the historic downtown area of Waxahachie, built in 1889, the Ellis County Museum shares the story of Ellis County and its residents through visual and interactive displays with over 130 years of history. The exhibits found within the museum have been carefully curated to reminisce on the rich history and to inspire current generations, from legacies of mammoths to the buffalo that roamed the Blackland prairies, to the founding of Ellis County and the cornerstones of agriculture and industry that built the community. There's something for everyone and of every age to be found here in this museum. I learned quite a few things about the county during my exploration as well, including where its name came from. Virginia-born Richard Ellis, an Associate Justice of the Alabama Supreme Court, settled in Mexican Texas in 1834. He was president of the Convention of 1836 that declared Texas's independence from Mexico and signed the Texas Declaration of Independence. Finishing our tour of the museum, we headed over to the Freedman Memorial Plaza. Located along Martin Luther King Boulevard, the plaza is dedicated to the struggles and lasting contribution of East Waxahachie citizens. This plaza, located directly across from the county's African American Hall of Fame, also hosts the 847 Memorial. This memorial honors the lives of 19 men who were killed in a tragic accident involving a fuel truck in 1946 along U.S. Highway 77.
All right, that is going to do it for Ellis County.
We have spent all morning here. Literally, in 4 hours, we've only made it into one county. I have done a very poor job of time management today, and that's because Ellis County has a lot to see. Not just in Waxahachie, which has that awesome museum and a lot of different memorials to see, and a lot of interesting geocaches, but in Ellis County in general with all the virtuals spread around. We've even cut half those virtuals off the list and still spent as much time as we have here. So, knowing that we're behind on time, we're gonna start cutting targets and try and make up a little bit of what we've spent here in Ellis County to get ourselves back on track for the day. Let's hope we can do it.
Finally, making our way out of Ellis County, it is well past time that we go and find a few geocaches. Everything we would go on to find for the morning portion of our adventure ended up being micros. Some of them proved quite challenging, blending in very well with their surroundings. Others were more of a needle in a haystack, but with a little bit of patience, we were able to locate this magnetic key holder on a train. Finally getting into our second county of the day, we enter the city of Cleburne, the county seat of Johnson County with a population of just slightly more than 30,000 people. This is actually the third county seat for the county. The first county seat, Wardville, is now located under the waters of Lake Cleburne. Our main goal in town was to visit the Spirit of Cleburne. This steam locomotive was delivered to the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Rail Company in 1919 and assigned to Cleburne passenger service for most of its 35 years, running over 2 million miles of track. The other thing that really stands out about the city of Cleburne is the amazing murals around town. I was fortunate enough to catch the artist painting these when I arrived. The most prominent mural in town can be found right along the walls in Wright Plaza. This beautiful 216-foot-long mural encompasses almost 500 years of Johnson County and Cleburne's past, separated into 7 different panels. It is a fascinating way to get a quick look at the history of the area before heading on down the road. And by the time we had made our way down the road to Big Rocks Park in the city of Glen Rose, the sky had opened up and it was pouring down on us. The unfortunate change in the weather did not stop us from enjoying this interesting park along the Paluxy River. Here we learned a little bit more about these large limestone rocks that have been slowly rounded down by the river over time. While it is uncertain how exactly these big rocks were formed, or why they are so different from the other rocks in the area, a closer inspection will reveal tiny pieces of sediment trapped within. The city of Glen Rose itself, the county seat of Somervell County, is better known as the dinosaur capital of the state. Around 113 million years ago, the area that the city of Glen Rose now occupied was found along an ancient sea coastline, where dinosaurs roamed the area and left their imprints along the banks of what is now known as the Paluxy River. Through excavations by a prominent museum and several universities in 1938, there were 3 kinds of dinosaur tracks that were found preserved in the limestone beneath the river. We had originally planned to visit Dinosaur Valley State Park just up the road to view more of these tracks. However, they are located along the riverbed, and given the conditions, it seemed like it was probably not a good idea at the time. But that did not stop us from getting to see the dinosaurs up close and personal during our time in Glen Rose. And if you keep your eyes peeled while exploring the city, you'll find many just like this in front of local businesses and organizations. Although the rain did not completely drown out our plans to find geocaches in each county that we passed through, it certainly put a damper on it. We cut most of the remaining targets off of our list, settling for just 1, possibly 2 in each county. Even cutting back to only 1 or 2 finds per county was still enough to ensure that I remained soaked for the remainder of the day. And to add insult to injury, one of the targets I picked out appeared to have been muggled. It was originally a locked birdhouse that somebody did not treat very nicely. And yet, even with all that destruction, the glass jar remains sitting here, just fine and dandy. After enjoying the view from ground zero over the rain-soaked landscape, we made our way into Erith County, where our sunlight would fail us for the day. There are many great-looking geocaches within Stephenville, the county seat of Erith County. But, given the rainy conditions, we decided instead to treat ourselves to a tour around the county courthouse and the Veterans Memorial before heading back on out of town. And, as much as I hate to admit it, cutting out of Stephenville early was the right decision because it helped to put our schedule back on time. Our last stop in the county under the setting sun would be Dublin, the former home of the world's oldest Dr. Pepper bottling plant. This is now the second Dublin that I have visited, and the second Dublin where I feel highly encouraged to drink while I'm in town. And seeing how this is home to the Dublin Bottling Works, it seemed like a good place to pop open a pop and enjoy a nice drink of soda.
All right, travelers, that brings our day to a cold, wet conclusion. Today was an interesting day. We had a lot of fantastic targets on our target list. A lot of virtuals, a lot of gadget caches, a lot of highly favorited geocaches. And most of our geocaches were located in Ellis and Johnson County. The problem is, we aren't made of time. So we ended up cutting probably about half the virtuals we had targeted, and that helped put us back on time a little bit, but we were still severely behind. Then, by the time we hit Glen Rose, it started raining down on us, and it has not stopped raining down since. And you know what? I prefer to look at the silver lining in things. Maybe that was for the best. That prevented us from going after additional targets that we wanted to do, such as Dinosaur Valley State Park, and instead we focused on the core of what we needed. That actually helped put us a little closer to our time. Right beyond us, it is still absolutely pouring down to no end, and I see no end in sight for the end of our night. It's all right. It's wet. It's cold. It is what it is. We are going to continue to caching until we hit Waco, and that's where we're going to call it a night. Like this video, subscribe to stay tuned for daily updates, and we'll see you out on the trail.